Hello, and welcome to episode 135 of the Wrasslecast. I'm your host, Don DeLorente, and I'm joined by my SmackDown Matters correspondent, the sensational Didi Jonay.
Hey, friends.
Hello, Didi. What's going on?
Nothing much, nothing much.
And tonight, we're joined by our special guest. One of our very first guests on the Wrestlecast is none other than the rock stunt double in the latest Baywatch movie, none other than Kellen Daniel.
What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Oh, nothing much, man. Nothing much. Happy to be back.
Man, glad that we could have you back. Been a long time since we got a chance to chop it up with you here on the WrestleCast.
Very true. Very true.
All right, before we get going, we want to let everybody know that you can find the WrestleCast on www.cspn.us. You can also find us on wrestlecast.tumblr.com. You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and SoundCloud. And you can also use any app through Android and iOS that you can use to download, listen, and subscribe to podcast. So big weekend of wrestling that just passed. We're gonna skip the news portion this week. We're gonna get right into the reviews, and we're gonna start with Friday night NXT Takeover Chicago. Shout out to Jade to the Max. So we're gonna start our first match: Eric Young versus Roderick Strong. Attacks Killian Dane and Alexander Wolf before the match starts when he comes through the crowd. Nice little sneak attack to kind of neutralize those guys. After using a knee strike to knock Young off the turnbuckle on the Sanity, Roddy then hits a running knee and a variation of the lung blower. It's called like Roddy Against the World or something like that. It's a backbreaker, and he gets the win. And so the payoff for Strong getting those nice two, highlight packages come to fruition here as he beat Sanity in the opening match. Good opening match, I thought. Crowd was really behind Roderick Strong. Sanity looks great coming out in that entrance. So good visuals. Comments, suggestions, thoughts, concerns.
Yeah, I saw. I like Sanity. I like their gimmick. I think that I don't know how well it would translate like at the main roster level, but I've always been a fan of Eric Young. I think he can pull off anything. Roderick Strong. I I know the internet has always been high on him, but I've never really been a fan. I think he's kind of vanilla. But all that being said, I thought they had a really good match.
Yeah, they're trying to kind of uh, give you some character development here in the past month on Roderick Strong. So maybe that will get people's interest up into him. He's been known as Mr. ROH, but never really stood out and advanced into getting into position to move into the hierarchy of WWE that a lot of guys he was wrestling at the time got to. They kind of left them behind. So this is his chance to finally make it into the big time. So we'll see what they do with them in NXT going forward.
Yeah, I thought I always kind of likened him to Tommy Dreamer of sorts. What Tommy Dreamer was for ECW. He
Hmm.
kind of was that guy at ROH, where there were guys that were obviously better than him coming through and getting shine, and he was just always kind of there. I
Hmm.
don't know how accurate of a depiction that is of him, but that's just always the vibe I got.
Hmm. Pretty much, pretty close. Next up, had the UK title match: Tyler Bate versus Pete. On the UK show on the night before this, the Friday night before this, we had two matches that were basically the standout matches. We had Pete Dunne versus Trent Seven to become the number one contender for and to get this match at Takeover. Uh, Trent Seven had an injured arm. Him and Pete Dunne are kind of cool. He comes and kind of checks on him in the back. He says his arm is a little busted, but he'll be able to make it. And then Pete Dunne takes his arm and slams it up against the concrete wall, further injuring it before their match. Needless to say, Pete Dunne wins the match. He gets his bitter end. his pump handle suplex on to Trent Seven, and he wins. And then Tyler Bate defends the title against Mark Andrews. Tyler Bate wins that match against Mark Andrews with the title drop in 97. And then it sets up this match at TakeOver for the UK title, called by Jim Ross and Nigel McGuinness. Tyler Bate tries to hit a dive, but Dunn sidesteps Bate. Dunn then puts Bate back into the ring. Dunn gets the win as he hits the bitter end, and Pete Dunne is your new WWE UK champion. I thought this was fantastic. The only time I've ever seen somebody sidestep a dive like that was Dean Malenko sidestepped Rey Mysterio Jr. on like a worldwide taping in 1995, and they went splat just that same way, and he ended up getting the win and win the cruiserweight champion on TV. So that was pretty cool, especially with the dives being such a big of debate for Bate to be successful on one, and then the second one be the beginning of his downfall was did not go lost on me when I was looking at the just this match as a whole. But in everybody's book, and as far as everybody's concerned, this was the match of the weekend. I mean, so many great just spots, trading spots with punches and mat wrestling, and just an all around five. So, Kellen.
And I thought that this was the match of the night. Honestly, um, I really like Tyler Bate. I I had never seen what was the other guy's name? I'm sorry. I never seen
Pete Dunne.
yes, I had never seen him wrestle before, so I was surprised that that he was that good. But I enjoyed that match a lot. I was invested um from bell to bell, and I can't say enough good things about that match. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's very high quality. Didi, were you able to catch this on Saturday night?
I don't want to lie. So no, I didn't see it.
Oh, you was out doing your thing around town.
I might have been gallivanting. Yeah, I might have been gallivanting.
Wrong with the little Gallivant,
You
you
was
know.
getting the after whims of the sundress and whiskey.
I told you I didn't go to Sundresses and Whiskey.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I had that old lady gang activity, and then they had an after party.
Oh,
And even though it was my party, I ended up being the bartender and the waitress
There you go.
oh,
That's
yeah.
always
and the busser.
that's
So you
always
were like getting tips, pouring drinks, drinking drinks.
I actually did get tips, like a lot of tips.
hey.
You can call me Diamond.
One time for the old lady game. All right, next up we get our NXT Women's Triple Threat match. We've got Nikki Cross, Ruby Riot, and Asuka. Asuka hits Ruby Riot with a knee strike after Ruby Riot hit her finishing move on a Nikki and was going for the pin. And when Asuka hit that knee strike, she just covers both women and she wins the match and retains her title. Asuka just being a badass. She's basically Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg wrapped up in the same person, and she's like 5'3". I wouldn't want to mess with her on the streets. So kudos to her.
She is going to really hurt somebody one day. I love Oscar, but she's gonna kill somebody one day. Uh, yeah, man. Nobody. I don't know who on the NXT roster is gonna beat her. I feel like it's gonna be Ember Moon. I hope it is, but it's gonna have to be like some WrestleMania moment uh type of match where somebody gets enough steam and enough of a push to unseat her, because I don't see I don't see her losing that title anytime soon.
Yeah, she's on a roll. She eclipsed Goldberg's streak. So
the fact
I
that
think she's up to.
the fact that that's even a thing, like his streak, which I don't even, what is it? What was
I
the
think I think Goldberg was like 174 or something like that.
yeah,
173.
okay,
Yeah, she's at like 177 or something like that.
right. I didn't even think that they would keep track of that because she's not on the main roster. You know how they like to. ignore
Yeah, yeah.
when it's convenient for them.
Yeah, but she's so dominant, and she's got such a persona and such a swag and everything, and the way that they booked her in NXT, man, it's old school as hell,
Yeah.
and it's giving her the aura that she is. I mean, when Naomi was hurt, she was the fill-in on the SmackDown house
Uh
shows,
huh.
and I got to see her at a live event, and it's just the same thing, man. It's just like, yo, she is so ready for this stage, and she is, working at a class such above the women that she was working with. It's just like, man, she's ready to be on TV every week.
Yeah. No, she definitely is. Um, and I feel like they needed to do that with her, push her that way because she's not like a Nakamura where she can act, communicate with the audience
Right,
uh, through promo. So they had to build her up the only way that they could, which was in the ring, and
right,
they did a great job.
right. And she's been getting a little bit better with her promos too. She's, two lines, three lines
Man,
type
but
for her
sometimes
because, like you said,
that's all you need, man. Like if you deliver those two lines or three lines well and like effectively, that's all you need. Like less is more with a lot of things in wrestling.
right, right, because the physicality should always be a part of the story. You go that route. I'm the type of guy right now. I wish the WWE would go with less physicality towards the matches they want us to care about.
Yes, 100%. That's how it's always been. Like what I don't think that I mean I'm backtracking, but I don't think that Triple H and Seth Rollins should have touched at all until WrestleMania.
Right. He had some more there to do all the damage he needed to be
Yeah,
done for himself. Right.
exactly.
Right.
Like
Right.
just little things like that, man.
Yep. Especially when we finish talking about this takeover, we'll actually kind of get into that. We get Hideo Itami versus Bobby Roode for the NXT title. Hideo Itami goes for a second GTS when Bobby Roode counters that into the glorious implant DDT. Rude holds on to the wrist and gives, or holds on to his head rather, and gives Hideo a second glorious implant DDT in his title. A lot of people didn't like this. I don't know. I like to watch Bobby Roode wrestle because I guess it's old school and it's different than watching everybody do the high flying stuff, and to see a guy kind of ground and arm and do a back drop and the hip toss and all that stuff. I kind of like it. It kind of splits up what you've seen for an hour and a half. So didn't have any problem with this match. I thought Tommy did very well, hit that GTS in Chicago, so the crowd got to see that. Thought he
Yeah,
showed pretty good.
yeah, no, I enjoyed the match also. I'm a Bobby Roode fan, like you are. I think that because there's so much of the other like high spots throughout the entire show, it makes his match look even I don't want to say boring, but just
Out of
even
place,
out of place, more
main
dull than it
main
might really
roster.
be.
It feels more main rosterish than it
Yeah,
does.
yeah, but even I'll go back to Triple H and Seth Rollins. Even that match felt out of place at WrestleMania, but that's for another reason. I don't think that they should have had that type of match after the build that they had. But
Hmm.
I think I like Rude as champion, man. He's I've said that since the TNA days. I was like, why is this guy not in WWE? Because he's got everything that they seem to want or look for in a guy that they can build around. You know what I mean? Like he's a good piece, like a great piece to have
Hmm.
on your roster. You'll never you'll never have to worry about a Bobby Roode type. Uh, he's reliable and he'll always give you the match that you need from him, if
Right.
that makes sense. Um, I think that Hideo, man, I feel bad for Hideo because he came in right at the height of all those guys coming in. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
Was it
Well, he
KO?
was the
And
start of it. It was him.
yeah, it was him and
It was Finn. Then it was Kevin. Then
yep,
it was him, Sammy. Then
yep, yeah, him and
Kevin. Then
Sammy.
Finn.
It
Yeah.
was him and Sammy. You're right. And he got injured at literally the worst time, man. And I feel bad for that guy because it's kind of like he was out of sight, out of mind, and he was forgotten about.
Okay. Think about this. Think about how fire NXT was, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Now just think about this. Think about if you would have came back in time to play out that who injured him
yeah, yeah,
uh storyline that they had like built in.
yep. And
Oh,
by the time that he was able to come back, everybody was gone, and he was just kind of there. And I also think that WWE dropped the ball on him by not letting him use his ring name from Japan.
well, I don't know. It's kind of weird because they introduced him as
Right,
Kenta, and
right,
then he comes on NXT and he changes it. So,
exactly. But how like everybody else after him got to keep their gimmick.
right.
So it's like I don't know how much that would like has set him back, but I think that it played a part.
He's the Carmelo
I'm
of
sorry.
NXT.
Was
I say he's the Carmelo Anthony of NXT. He just did everything wrong. Like LeBron and D Wade had their business in order,
right.
and Carmelo was like lagging behind the whole time, and that's the
Yep.
reason why he don't have a championship.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of championships, we're gonna go into our final match, our main event: DIY versus the Authors of Pain NXT Tag Team Title Ladder Match. DIY get both hands on the titles, but the Authors of Pain pull the ladder out from underneath them. As DIY is hanging from the title belts, the Authors of Pain grab them down, then powerbomb DIY, followed by giving them the super Authors of Pain, climb up to the and grab the belts and retain their titles. So, of course, they Authors of Pain leave out. The darlings of the match, DIY, they're in the ring. Everybody kind of figures like maybe since they lost, they didn't get the championship run again, that this was kind of their send off to get ready to go to the main roster. So they're in the ring and they're soaking up the adulation and, just soaking up the cheers and, consoling each other. Well, as they go to leave the arena, the unthinkable happens. Ciampa attacks Johnny Gargano. He throws him into the LED board and then he gives him one of those vicious knee strikes. Ciampa then gives Gargano another running knee strike. Then he gives Gargano the white noise off the announce table through several tables that they had set up down below. And then he just sits there, just menacing. And that place had so much heat on Tommaso Ciampa. Turns in the past like 2 years for sure. Nobody saw it coming. I swear, a lot of people didn't even see it because they put the little, trademark thing up for NXT going off the air. And a lot of people probably shut down their device.
Yeah.
And
I went to bed. I missed it live. Um, I think you're right. You nailed it. Everything was they did everything perfectly. Nobody saw it coming. Um, I would argue that NXT has this thing where they just throw guys together and make them a tag team. I think that it's a good thing, and it probably should happen more because, like I said, they just throw these guys together and they just either for whatever reason click as a team and end up getting pushed and getting a tag title.
yeah,
Um,
they were
and
slotted to be just a job
yeah,
as opposed to even be anything.
right. Like what is it? Blake and Murphy. Like
Hmm.
they didn't even have a name. They were just Blake and Murphy. And they ended up with the NXT titles. And you have two solid wrestlers that you don't have anything necessarily for. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a perfect way to get these guys new characters or repackaged or what have you, and have built-in feuds for the fans to get into, as opposed to just having them wrestle with no purpose.
Right, right. So coming out of the Backlash event, we've got probably the biggest storyline that they've had in NXT in a long while. When this, Ciampa and Gargano storyline starts to play out, and the good thing about NXT is they may have one physical run in, and then the rest of the time it'll just be promos and a couple, squash matches, and then we'll get into our big match at SummerSlam or whenever the next takeover is going to be. And I think that's what makes Backlash the better product is the matches are fresh, still fresh when you see them, unlike Backlash where the big matches have been kind of given to you in some sort of iteration for a whole month leading up to it. So
Right.
Triple H does it again.
That guy.
You are listening to the Wrasslecast. You can find us at www.cspn.us and also at wrasslecast.tumblr.com. So we're going to move in now into Backlash, what happened on Sunday. Again, Chicago All-State Arena. We're going to start off with DD's favorite, hashtag say no to pre-shows. As we had Aiden English versus Todd Dillinger. English versus Dillinger, we get sidestep, and English runs into the buckle. Dillinger then snatches English up and gives him the tiebreaker, and he gets the win. Keeping the momentum for Todd Dillinger, and Aiden English got to sing and he got to cry, so I guess that's right in line with his new gimmick. Any thoughts on that, Kellen? Did you watch that, or did you do like DD and also say no to pre-shows?
Yeah, I missed that one, man.
It's a movement.
Yeah, I might be on board with unless it's a WrestleMania pre-show or like a big event pre-show. I don't tend to watch them, and I'm a fan of the idea of pre-shows, right? Like I think that they make the event seem more important, but whenever you do them for every pay-per-view, it kind of washes that away.
Hmm.
Right, right. Well, you did get to miss your man Samito as he was the guest in the little question thing that they do, that little social media question lounge, and
That
Dasha
sounds
was
awful.
Dasha was looking rather creeptastic. So
You mean Daisy?
I mean, yes, Daisy. See, you've
Thank you.
infiltrated me. All right, so now it's time for all the pyro, and it's time for hashtag Backlash Matters. So we get opening match: Dolph Ziggler, Gay, Nakamura. Nakamura hits the inverted exploder, hits two exploder suplexes, and that leads to the Kinshasa, and Nakamura gets the win. They totally messed this up for me because they had Dolph Ziggler beat on this man a lot more than he should have. And for 6 weeks of build up, and for it looked like he was going to face the Miz, and then y'all kind of do a 180, and now he's doing Dolph, and he didn't have any matches leading up to this. This should have just been an exhibition of him whooping Dolph Ziggler's ass and Dolph Ziggler flip flopping and flying for him. But they didn't book the match that way. They booked it where Dolph Ziggler making him do a lot of flip flopping and flying, and he kind of had to fight from underneath and get the win. So I didn't really like it. It left a lot to be desired for me after waiting so long to see him actually wrestle. So I open it up to DD. This is your show.
Mm.
How'd you feel about it, friend?
Um, I was just happy with the ending. You know, I like Dolph, so I wouldn't have wanted to like suddenly see Dolph like struggle in a match, but it could have been more even.
Right.
It should have been more even.
Kellen, what are your thoughts, man?
I'm pretty much aligned with you guys. I thought that that was booked horribly. I thought that Dolph should have, like he said, bumped his ass off for Nakamura if you want to make Nakamura one of your top guys on the SmackDown roster. I don't think he should have been having struggling with Dolph Ziggler in his debut match. Dolph hasn't really mattered to me in quite a while. So to see him get all that offense on a guy that has a legit shot at being one of your bigger stars was disappointing.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, not the best debut, but the entrance was, and even the entrance was like subpar. It's like, man, they didn't even have the violin player. They didn't have any like. I mean, this was a chance where they could have made it as over the top as possible. You know?
Yeah, and but at to that point, it's almost better that they didn't because if they would have brought the violin player out and had all this pomp and circumstance in hip hop for them to have that kind of match would have been terrible. It would have been even worse.
Right, right. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Next, we're gonna move into Breezango versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team. Fandango hits a plancha, and then he goes to the top rope. But Jimmy holds Fandango's foot, and Jay gives Fandango a kick. He falls off the turnbuckle, and the Usos, trap Usos, get the win. Day one ish is still your SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
Shout out to the Trap Usos.
Um, I, for one, was probably the only person in America who was like, why in the hell is Tyler Breeze not wrestling as Tyler Breeze? Why? And this is what I knew was going to happen when he came out as Breezy Bella and everybody liked it. I was like, oh, now see, you might not want to actually have had that be as good as it was because now they're going to make you start dressing up. And so he comes out
Right.
dressed up as the janitor from the Fashion Files, wrestles a third of the match as the janitor. Next time we see him, he's got a dress on. He's like a granny in a walker, and he broke the Usos. So that was an accomplishment there. Um, then I think it was Jimmy rips the dress off of him and throws it right in JBL's face. That was funny. And then Fandango wrestles the last match at. I mean, excuse me, Tyler Breeze wrestles the last match as Tyler Breeze, which was the part that I liked the most serious part, which led into the ending. But hey, the crowd liked it. They were with it. They were highly entertained and behind Breezango. And hey, who am I to disagree with what the crowd wants?
Yeah, because nobody ever does that.
But no, it just shows you that hey, if you take some time and you concentrate and you do some good creative and some good talking, you can get people interested to watch people wrestle who are cold. And that's what they've done in 3 weeks worth of these little fashion files.
Yeah, I think that these guys are talented, man. Tyler Breeze and Fandango. I think that their gimmicks don't do them any favors whatsoever. I think that those are NXT gimmicks in a sense that when NXT started, they wanted that to be developmental, almost like another indie type,
Hmm.
until it got bigger than what they anything they ever imagined it to be. I don't think they ever planned on NXT being a quote unquote third brand, um, competing with Raw and SmackDown. All that said, I don't think that those gimmicks were ever going to translate well on the main rosters. Fandango came out with the song and all that, and the fans took to that, and then he cooled off because the song was over. He wasn't over. Um, and to his credit, he's managed to always have something to do.
Yep.
He's always doing something, and that takes a skill and a talent in and of itself to always be um, on the minds of whoever's booking or writing the show. You know,
Hmm.
um, Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze got called up, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen me tweet this, but I am not a fan of guys getting called up for the sake of getting called up. Just they've been in NXT for X amount of time and they need people on the main roster, I think that's counterproductive to the wrestler and the show itself. Because if you're not going to give me a reason to care about this guy being called up, what is he there for?
Right, right.
And you put, so I feel like it was only a matter of time before those guys got together, and they are creative and they are talented. So they're, like I said, they're always going to be in the mix somewhat, somewhere somehow,
Right.
with Brizango and the fashion files, the fashion police thing is funny and it is creative. So hats off to them.
Wee
Um,
woo, wee woo.
yeah, the the match was what it was. I mean, I wasn't expecting the Rockers and the um whoever Orient
Heart
Express.
Foundation.
Yeah, but it was a good match. It was fine for what it was.
Didi, anything you like to add about the Usos?
Um, that fat one is real fat now.
He's he's getting he's forming into Rikishi.
Oh
Real,
man.
it's like for real. Like they're not any parts identical anymore. Like
I
he
guess
is
I guess
Which
packing
one?
on the
Which
pound.
which one is the getting
The
big?
fat one, Naomi's husband.
Okay, that's what I was about to say, and that yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
next up, Didi Jonet's favorite, Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin. Corbin hits a big boot and stumbles into the corner. Or excuse me, Sammy hits the big boot and Corbin stumbles into the corner. Sammy hits the hell of a kick and he gets the win. Oh my god! Did you like spill your drink because you jumped up in excitement, Didi?
I never drank my alcohol. No, no. But I did yell. I screamed a little bit. I jumped a little bit.
But the
Cause you know
alcohol
how? Cause you
didn't
know
spill a drink.
I pick, but I don't really be believing they're gonna do what I want them to do. So I was like, shitty what? Like I was like, I was happy.
Shocked disbelief, just like everybody.
I know. And then all y'all had the nerve to pick Sammy in the game, so it wasn't even like I could be like, ooh, told you so. Because you know I was ready, but
I know. So Kellen, what do you feel about Baron Corbin, man? Is he getting better in your eyes? Is he maturing into the spot that they want him to be in?
Man, honestly, no, I don't. I don't think. I mean, that doesn't matter anyway because they're gonna put him. They're gonna push him where they want to push him, whether we like it or not. I just, man, I've never been a fan. Aside from his finisher, I've never been a fan of Baron Corbin. I didn't see it in NXT when they called him up. I didn't see it then. I don't see it now. Um, he's he's just a big guy, man. Like he doesn't do it for me. He doesn't do anything worthwhile. I feel like there are other big guys on the roster that do more, and for some reason they just want him to be in this certain spot, and I don't have I really don't have an answer for it.
The two things I will give him credit for, Baron Corbin, there's a hell of a punch,
Yes,
and that deep six looks fantastic on everybody he gives it to.
that's the finisher.
It's not. It's a secondary finisher.
Which one is what is it?
That's like the big boss man twirling slam where he catches you under, you come off the ropes and catches you underneath your
Oh, like the sidewalk.
arms and spins you like.
I yeah. That does look good. And his was it End of Days? Is that the name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That I like that finisher a lot. Other than that, if he could just come in, well, that isn't that what he was doing, right? He was coming in and giving people the finisher and bouncing, right? And like they were
yeah,
counting the
yeah.
second. That was his gimmick.
He's
And
having like 20-second matches.
yeah, like once that ended, he got exposed quickly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the one thing we Corbin in NXT was he got rid of Bull Buchanan for us or Bullfit.
Yeah, Bull Buchanan was that
I forgot what it. Bull James, Bull Buchanan.
Nah, it wasn't Bull Buchanan. That's Bull
What's
Buchanan
his name?
attitude era. It was something. It was Bull something.
Yeah.
He's not there anymore.
Nope. Nope. So next up, we got our 6 women tag match. We got the Welcoming Committee of Natty, Carmella, and Tamina versus Feel the Glow of Charlotte, Becky, and Naomi. Tamina breaks up a roll up by Becky. That opens the door up for Natty to get Becky in the sharpshooter, so that will qualify as a distraction. And Becky taps out.
Because of course she does.
Becky with the Cyndi Lauper hair.
Mm. I don't think the women in the back like her too much. She always looks questionable.
They just let her rock out with whatever she thinks is the hottest.
Yeah, but she doesn't have good ideas. And it seems like, like the girls in the back are friends, right? Like Sasha's really friends with Bailey. Your faith is really friends with
Naya.
Samoa. Yeah, there you go. Couldn't get the names right. But like you know that if your faith was looking a little shaky, Naya would say, no, no, don't do that with your hair. I don't think there's anybody in the back who like cares enough about Becky to be like, you want to wear a bouffant a foot high? You want to look kind of like Craig Bundy? That's what you want to do?
I think that's because Becky hangs out with like Finn and Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, and they probably be hyping it up.
Oh, she thinks she's in a Bullet Club? That actually explains a lot. But even Finn, I feel like wouldn't be like, yeah, that's awesome. I feel like the third Reich would do that. I feel like they'd be like,
How do you feel about Naomi and the like neon? I guess that's green, maybe. What is that
mm-hmm,
kind of? What do you
it's
feel?
green.
Are you feeling that?
I'm a fan. I sure am.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about Naomi is whatever she's feeding her husband. Other than that,
That's fair. That's fair.
you think he's gained a smooth 20, 30 pounds.
Oh yeah, for sure. He just said the gym. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
He's just
My
like my
freak girl hide it.
my God. It's like how your brother went to the gym, your wife went to the gym. You're like, yeah, I'll stay home.
Yeah, I
It's
think he. Got,
crazy.
I think he was. I think he was the one who had the shoulder. It been kind of.
What your shoulder got to do with it? Okay.
Kellen, any thoughts on this particular match? Anything that stood out to you?
Not really, man. I think that they need to find a direction for the SmackDown Women's Division.
Yeah, Charlotte coming in and then them blowing through 2 matches with Naomi and then turning her face. That yeah, they kind of messed up.
Yeah,
Another case of where they should have held off on them doing anything with
well, I'm
each
trying
other.
to figure out why they felt the need to turn her face.
I
Like,
don't know, man.
I'm just like, why is she a face right now? She came in as a heel. Like, let her be that. And I know that Natalia heel and Carmella. Uh, who else is a heel on?
James Ellsworth.
James Ellsworth, Tamina.
Yeah, Ellsworth. I mean, Tamina is just there at this point. I don't know. She's there because I don't. She's
Jimmy
legacy.
Snicker
She's a
Fluster Cutter.
yeah.
Yes.
She's a
Yes.
legacy. But yeah, they're thin at the heel uh spot on the show for the women. So why not let her come in and just continue being Charlotte like she was on Raw? I don't.
Well, I have a theory. I think that Becky is going to be her Sting. Like, Sting would always trust Flair and they'd be good for like a month and a half and then eventually Flair would always turn on him. I think that's what's gonna happen with Becky.
I could see that, and Becky's much better at playing that role than Bailey is.
Right. Right.
As much as Bailey is a Babyface is babyface. She's not. I don't feel myself like rallying around her. Like I don't want to see her come back and get hers. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel more sad for Bailey than anything whenever things happen to her. And I shouldn't feel sad for my baby faces. I should feel like, man, I hope they come back and whoop some ass.
Right. Right. Well, everybody's match they were looking forward to the match of the night. AJ Styles, the face that runs the place when Dee Dee Jonay's not around, versus the new face of America, Kevin Owens, for the United States title. AJ goes to put Owens through the table. When Owens gets his bad, Owens like splits AJ's legs out and gets his bad leg caught in like one of the cutouts in the announce table. AJ can't free himself and gets counted out, and Kevin Owens retains. Post match, they get the little beat down. Kevin Owens gives him a nasty beat down and kind of leaves AJ laying. And so we're gonna, I guess, leave it open for a rematch, and this program continues. Um, this looks like they kind of did what me and Kellen have been talking about. They just gave us a sample. They didn't really. It's like they kind of started real slow, and then once they turned it up, they went right into the finish. They didn't give us the epic full on match that we kind of expected, at least for me anyway. So, Kellen, what you think? You think they kind of like, since they knew maybe what the finish was going to be and how it's going to lead to at least another match, that they kind of just gave us an appetizer?
They're gonna feud through SummerSlam. I feel like, um, yeah, that was just they just dapped us with a little something. I think that over June, July, we're gonna get much better matches because I was not a fan of this one at all.
Yeah, sometimes I guess the chemistry can be a little off the first time these guys have a big high profile match like this
Right,
in a big setting, and who knows how many times they've actually had a chance to wrestle each other on the house shows leading up to,
right.
which is usually kind of where the kinks get ironed out before they get to these bigger matches. But
Yep,
yeah, I'm looking for bigger and better things to come for sure between these two as the program goes on.
definitely. I am a huge AJ Styles fan. I just always think he should be in or around a title picture. So I'm good with him and KO feuding for the next few months. I can see them going all the way to SummerSlam.
All right. Didi, on the new face of America, Kevin Owens weight loss. Are you good? Is he getting too
That's a
skinny
great
for
gimmick,
you?
by the way. Not to cut you off. That's a great gimmick. The new face of America. That's awesome.
It is.
Is he getting too skinny for you?
Um, you know, I gotta go with the Canadians.
Yeah, he's the
It's,
husky. He's the original husky boo.
he's not that husky anymore, but he's husky enough.
Okay, but he's borderline on to being like, moving
No, I'm
into
kidding.
like,
I don't like it.
you know,
I don't know why
non-husky.
everybody want to like leave Team Teddy Bear. Like it's good. They're warm.
Did you see what happened to Gender? You see what happened when Gender came back, right? And got in shape. You saw what happened, right?
30-day vacation. WWE champion.
Everybody's like, "Oh, that's all it takes to get the push." Kevin Owens
Literally,
like shit. Let me get in the sauna.
I'm surprised they haven't figured it out sooner. like like this company didn't just start last week.
Yeah,
So
they like them slim and trim. I like them a little thicker, but that's okay. Everything's not about me. AJ still has soccer mom hair, so I'm cool with.
I saw a list that said the 25 hottest African American models,
Hmm.
and then I clicked on it, and that was my same sentiment. I like them a little bit thicker,
I was really trying
but
to figure out where you were going with this. I was like, what do models
but
have to do with
but
soccer
everything's
moms?
not for me.
Yeah, that's true. It's like it should be, but it's not, and it's okay.
Right, right.
All right.
So in the death spot of the night, we had Eric Rowan versus Luke Harper. Luke Harper got the win, and yeah, creative has nothing for these two guys. They should just make a makeup and be a tag team like they were before.
Mm, it's all boring. They're boring.
Luke Harper had like a 2 week stretch where he was like, the
Two
people
weeks
was,
is nothing in a
but
long stretch of life.
they stopped it though. They could have like they had a chance to like he was hot and they could have kept making him hot, but they was like, nah.
The New Day didn't need anybody
They
to make them hot. The New Day was just hot. So
Oh
they
yeah, I'm not making excuses for Caucasian people. Not in Trump's America.
no, the New
that's
Day
Sorry.
being has
fair.
been they've been hot longer than they've been not hot, and you just forgot when they was like ice cold.
They did it for themselves. They didn't
Just
wait on
because.
nobody in the back to help.
This is true.
Well, yeah, that's because they took like what Bruce Pritchard used to tell The Rock when Triple H used to go off script and fuck him up and
Mm.
get the best of him in the promos. Like, dude, it's live TV. I know they tell you to say one thing, but it's live TV.
I,
So if you can handle the ass chewing, if it goes wrong when you come to the bat, then do your thing.
Hunter never went off script and tried to one up the Rock, did he? He would never.
Nah, he would
That,
nah.
that guy's still jealous of the Rock. I don't care what he says.
Oh hell yeah,
It's
he is.
like he. There's a reason
Oh,
he had
for
to go
sure.
off script to get over on the Rock in their heydays because he probably had nothing left to
Yeah,
say.
but thank God for the Rock and Triple H because I swear they carried him for like 2 years.
Oh no! Whenever Austin went down, it was people. They do not believe that for like from like '99 to early 2001, Triple H was the best wrestler walking.
Oh yeah,
I can't convince the internet of that. And I'm just like, yo, like, please go back and watch those matches or
yeah.
that.
Right before he got super swole, when he
Yeah,
was like, yeah,
before he got hurt, Triple H was amazing, amazing. Like the Rock wasn't in the ring with himself during those Iron Man matches, dog. Like, like those shits were great.
right, right. All right, our main event: Never Hinder Gender, Gender Gang in the building, Gender Mahal versus All Lives Matter, Randy Orton for the WWE World Title. All Lives Matters attacks the Singh brothers, putting them both through announce tables. We almost RIP'd one of the Singh brothers.
Oh, did we?
Then Randy drags him into the ring and gives him the double draping DDT. But that allows Jinder to give Randy the Cobra Cut Slam and get the win. And Jinder Mahal, the Maharaj, WWE champion.
Mm.
One time for the brown people.
Once.
Them ones like in Melanin were so upset.
Mm.
Were they?
Oh, were they?
I must have missed that.
It was a few. You know what? Considering though, it was a lot of people in there cheering because I think
Yeah.
I think WWE and just the general public underestimates people's lack of want for Randy Orton to be champion. They like him
Yeah.
to like chase the belt and go on the pursuit, but then when he become champion, they'd be like, nah.
Well, there's that, right? And then there's also the fact that um, it's Jinder Mahal. Like nobody, like it's still funny to say that even now. Like nobody was checking for Jinder Mahal to
2
be in
weeks
this
ago.
position. You know what I mean? So if nothing else, they were cheering for the upset that they watched.
Right. You know who really has an issue with this? This whole Jinder Mahal thing?
Huh.
Mojo Riley.
Oh, really?
Does it really?
He should be.
Like, think about it. At WrestleMania, he eliminated Jinder Mahal to win the Battle Royal. Then on the SmackDown, they kind of had like the rematch. He beat him there, and then the next thing you know,
With Gronk's help.
right? Then the next thing you know, somebody tapping Mojo on the shoulder like, "Hey, you're not even to put the belt on gender, right?" Like, what the um, I had a great analogy. You know, when Randy Orton almost crippled one of the seams when he gave him it was supposed to be a back body drop onto the announce table, but he somersaulted that man. He almost landed like head and
Yeah,
neck first to the monitor.
Oh,
yeah,
that's when he made
he,
that face like,
Yeah,
yeah,
mm.
you know
but
what that
he,
face is. You know what that face. You know what that face is. That face when you eat her leftovers and then she yelled down
Yeah.
for you to bring the styrofoam plate up there. Like,
that's
mm,
true.
yeah,
That's
that's the
funny.
same face. So, Dee, what do you think? Jinder Mahal is your new WWE champion on SmackDown Matters. How do you feel
I
about Jinder
mean,
representing your brand?
I was mad indifferent to it. I'm not ever here for All Lives Orton, so I was a fan of him losing the title. But when we get to what happened on Tuesday, you'll understand why I'm a fan now. But
Gotcha.
yeah, back then I was just kind of like, yay, anybody but Orton. It's great.
Okay. All right. So that was Backlash.
I, I think
Most say
that
that it was. Oh, go ahead, Kellen.
no, yeah, I was just gonna say, man, I think 30 Day Vacation with the title is it's a welcome change. I just like I said, it's Jinder Mahal, man. I can't get all the way behind it because as
You got to put those 3MB memories out of your mind, man.
not man, but it's before that. Even before that, nobody was checking for Jinder Mahal. And the what am I trying to say? The match itself wasn't good. Like it wasn't a good match. Orton controlled from the beginning of the bell to pretty much the end, and that's how I knew that Jinder was gonna win. And a matter of fact, I tweeted that I was like, "Yo, he's dropping the belt tonight." I didn't expect him to drop it uh pretty much clean as hell in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of the ring. Um with that being said, I don't know where they go from here other than a rematch and uh Orton getting it back, but then we're just back where we started. I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't know their end game for the title
Right.
switch.
Right. Um, Me personally, I just glad it is somebody different. We've been saying for years, it's always the same rotation. It's
Yeah,
Orton, it's
no, that's fair.
Cena,
That's fair.
it's the same three or four guys, get their turns, and that's how it reigns and all this. So it's good to just try somebody different. Now maybe they could have given him 2 or 3 months worth of build up, him beating a bunch of jobbers and then moving up, and then holding a lesser title or a tag team title, and then maybe doing something like that. But give us something different and give us some new creative, and that's all I can say. So that was backlash. A lot of people say that again, NXT the takeover outperformed the main roster, and I think that here on the Wrasslecast, I would definitely say the same. The last couple of matches, the AJ Styles and the main event to me were pretty good, kind of the best matches on the card. Everything else kind of felt like SmackDown on just a big scale. So
Right.
moving into Monday Night Raw, we got Bray Wyatt. He starts with an in-ring promo on how he is the savior from the Beast. He says, "Please, everybody, stand up." He didn't ask for you to bow your head, but he was close. He says none of the other four men have what it takes to beat Brock Lesnar, and that brings out Roman Reigns, who wants to get Bray out of his yard. Then that brings out Kurt Angle, Bray, and Roman, and it's going to start. Didi win?
Right now,
That's right. So we get Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt. After Bray gives Roman a crossbody and both men are down, Samoa Joe comes down and puts Roman in the coquina clutch. Joe gets DQ'd, then attacks Bray, who Joe gets, Roman DQ'd, and then he attacks Bray, and then Seth Rollins comes down to take care of Samoa Joe. Bray gets the Superman punch from Roman, and the Shield members are standing in the ring side by side, and everybody's kind of like cheering a little bit because they're excited whenever the Shield kind of does their thing where it looks like they're going to team up for a little while. So I love the opening promo. Only thing that was missing was Deacon Batista in the collection plate because we was at church. But when they do Bray Wyatt's promos like that, where he's kind of like talking that sermon talk, but he's got it focused in on one message, he's the best promo in the company.
Yeah, I think that there's something to that. I definitely think that whenever he's on a roll like that, there's not many people in the company that can touch him. Um, and this is gonna sound crazy because he was a WWE champion, but he's just got to put some wins behind him. You know, they've got to put some you know, he's got to be able to back up the things that he says, and I think that um him and Roman have great matches, but they feuded like 3 times over the past 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Um, and I know they're not. That's not the main their main feud. That's not where they're going. But it's just like, man, give me something different.
It just goes back again to where you have a whole performance center full of people who are dying to come do jobs on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Use them
Yes.
instead of burning through all of these great matches that sometimes get a finish and sometimes just lead to something else that we're going to watch a month from now. Instead of just, hey, okay, we don't really have anything for such and such. Well, okay, let's just sit on TV, let them beat somebody, maybe establish a secondary finisher, let Sami Zayn beat up somebody and win a match with the Blue Thunder Bomb. So actually, when it happens in a match, you might actually believe it's gonna beat somebody.
Yeah.
Cut a nice little promo, and then just move on to the next week.
And bring back squash matches. Bring,
Right.
bring back the Iron Mike Sharps of the world.
Squash
Who,
matches and interviews go a long way.
yes, squash matches make you believe in the people that you want us to be invested in.
Right. So then we get Seth and Roman backstage. They're kind of arguing amongst themselves. Roman is like, I didn't need your help. Seth is like, help? I wasn't coming out there to help you. That was all about Samoa Joe. They get approached by Kurt. Says that they're going to be in a tag team match tonight versus Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt. So Kurt Angle channeling the inner soul of none other than Teddy Long
Holla,
for
holla,
this
holla.
tag team match later on tonight. During that, backstage, the Drifter appears, and this time Kurt says that he's been trying to get his attention, and now he has it. And so Kurt makes a match between Dean and the Drifter for later tonight. Next, we get Akira Tozawa versus Aria Davari. Akira Tozawa wins with a fantastic looking atomic senton bomb. Just the height, it looked like he was diving in a swimming pool doing a cannonball. It was fantastic. Next up, Sasha Banks. She's doing a backstage promo on her rubber match tonight versus Alicia Fox when she's approached by Noam and Alicia. And of course, there's trash talking going back and forth. And Sasha's like, we'll handle this out in the ring. Dee,
Mm-hmm.
are you disturbed yet by Noam Dar's hair?
I'm disturbed by Noam Dar in general. He, I'm not comfortable.
I like Noam Dar. I think he has a lot of potential. I really like him and Alicia Fox together. But yeah, he got to do some of that hair. I mean, if you losing it, just go ahead and just rock it the way you got it and bald head.
Oh, he's one of those people.
I don't know. Whatever else he's got attached to his scalp right now. Alicia maybe made him do it. Had some extra bundles and was like, I'm not wasting it. Put it
I
in your
said,
hair.
don't blame the black woman, not in Trump's America.
All right, so we get the Drifter versus Dean Ambrose. Miz is on commentary. The Miz comes down from the commentary booth and he attacks the Drifter, which costs Dean Ambrose the match. Dean chases Miz around the ring and they get back into the ring when Dean gets his hands on the Miz. But the Drifter attacks Dean and gives him a swinging neck breaker. And the Miz and the Drifter kind of, exchange little, smirks. And I guess the Miz feels like, hey, I might have somebody on my side here.
Yo, can we talk about that chase? Because um that was the weakest chase I've ever seen in my life.
It's
and,
Didn't
hard
he
to.
like
and
run
Dean Ambrose
around him
got put
for a
on
second?
skates.
Like, didn't he was like he like oop and like kind of went
Yeah, it
around?
was like it was one like R1 on the joystick, and it he was gone, and Dean Ambrose was just left looking like a fool, and they wonder why we don't believe in Dean Ambrose.
This is a take a moment to give a shout out to young Littlefoot, because this was the part of the program where I was really concerned for her mental state and well-being, as they show Big Cass walking backstage to the scene of a homicide,
Uh,
where we see Enzo has been laid out. Only thing
Enzo,
that was missing was the chalk line and the tape. Um,
He's
Enzo should
not
just
dead.
bring
He's
it with him
just
in his uh, suitcase.
he's not dead. He just got beat up out his shoes.
Yeah, I'm so
how
tired.
did you end up right by his head though? Like that's messed up. Like
Product placement. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of them booking Enzo and Cass like this, man. Like I don't even enjoy them on TV anymore. Like it's
because
just
you
it's
know there's no good will come from it.
no like that like in like they're gonna break up. Yeah, they're gonna break up, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do with Cass. But they're over there acting like Enzo is just like a
Like,
mouth,
yeah,
and
or
I think he's good enough in the ring to put a push behind. You know what I mean? Like he's obviously great on the mic. Um, but he's so they book him so helpless. Like if Cass wasn't around, he would just get murked at the food like craft service or whatever, like every day. And I'm just like damn, like obviously he had to be okay on his own to get where he is now. So like let him fight his own battles.
they have teased these boys being the tag team champions for 4 years. A year,
They didn't even win the NXT championship.
right?
And
And
they
it
were
looked
teasing them then.
like they were poised to win the Raw team titles. The damn Hardys decided they wanted to come back and play in the
Yeah,
playground.
I thought that WrestleManias was theirs, even though the Hardys showed up and it was a great moment. I'm not disputing that at all. I think that Enzo and Cass still should have won because I felt like it would have meant more
Yeah,
for them to win with the Hardys returning. Let them drop it on at the next pay per view or something, but they deserve that WrestleMania moment. I
right.
hate the way they're being booked right now. Like I've a really sour taste in my mouth about it. I don't like it.
All right. So next, after we come back from commercial break, Enzo has regained his senses, but he doesn't know who laid him out. Next up, we get the Glow's favorite, one of their favorites. Finn Balor comes out. He begins to cut his promo when none other than Paul Heyman comes out and begins to praise Finn and says that, hey, he sees Finn coming. He knows who's the biggest threat is to Brock Lesnar, and it's Finn Balor. Even if the other four guys in the match, in the Extreme Rules match, think he's the underdog, Heyman considers him the favorite and basically made Finn Balor in 1 7-minute promo. He's good. There's nothing else that he doesn't even need to wrestle anymore for the rest of this duration of this build, and he's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Heyman, yeah, Heyman did Heyman did his thing Monday night.
In theory, they could build this whole match by having Heyman do that for each one of us. Whether he praises them, cuts them down, or plays it in the middle.
Oh yeah,
And they wouldn't even have to spend all this time trying to wrestle each other and making all these crazy matches. Just the talking between them and Paul would be great.
exactly. And I'm not I'd never wish injury on anyone, but I'm happy that uh Braun is out for a few months because wouldn't there rumblings of Brock dropping the title to Braun at some point and Heyman turning on him. I don't know. I feel like I read that somewhere. Someone told me that, and I thought that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Paul Heyman
Yeah,
should never turn on a Brock Lesnar. Why would you turn on the person making the most money for the least amount of work? Like that makes no sense. Like on any like from a kayfabe standpoint, whatever. Like why would you leave this man who wrestles 5, 6 times a year and gets paid better than anybody on the roster?
right.
Like it doesn't make sense. And all you have to do is big him up and sell him and sell the match whenever it had like whenever there's a match to be sold. Like that doesn't make any sense. And I don't think Braun is the guy to leave Brock for. Not right now anyway.
No, not right now. So then Finn has a match. It's his old Bullet Club member, Carl Anderson. After a dive by Finn on the outside, we get the three moves of death, the sling blade, followed by the shotgun drop kick, followed by the ultimate Kevin Sullivan foot stomp for the victory. I really like this match though because that Carl Anderson showed that he could really go, and even with a little bit of outside shenanigans from Gallows, it was just mostly a Carl Anderson showcase. He got a chance to get in some good offense. They had a pretty fair match, and of course it helps Finn Balor advance on and going into the Extreme Rules match. So a good piece of business there between those two.
Yeah, they'll. I'm trying to figure out when they will give us the Bullet Club reunion that we all have been asking for.
I wouldn't hold your breath on it, bud.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hold your breath on it. Next up, we get Alicia Fox versus Sasha Banks. Sasha wins with the double knees to Fox in the corner. After the match, Dar and Sasha Banks get into it, causes Dar to get slapped by Sasha. Then attacks Sasha from behind and then gives her the scissors kick and leaves Sasha's land. So I don't know. I guess like we're gonna get some more feuding. Just like maybe this is where maybe somebody like Cedric Alexander might pop in and kind of give Sasha some assistance because even though I, you know what, how mind watching her wrestle Noam Dar, I think it would be a hell of a match. I don't think that they're gonna do it in 2017 WWE.
Nah, I don't think so either. I think I'm glad that they are showcasing other women besides the usual suspects. I can't remember the last time I saw Alicia Fox wrestle. I guess it's a singles match. So shout out to her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I didn't have any problems with the match.
DD in a fictional who you got?
Mm-hmm.
Noam Dar, Sasha Banks.
Say it again.
In a fictional who you got?
Uh-huh.
Noam Dar or Sasha Banks?
Like if they fought,
Yeah, if they wrestled. Like
I mean,
this was
she did slap hot fire out of him.
if this was
So,
like Lucha Underground and we had the intergender matches.
mm, I think I would go with Sasha.
I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could probably press slam Noam Dar. He's so small.
He does seem a little delicate.
So then we go to the back. We see Titus, not Titus. We see Apollo Cruz talking to Kalisto, and Kalisto is like, "Man, what are you doing? You're out here fighting Titus's battles. You know what I'm saying? Don't fall for it. Whatever he's selling you, don't buy it." Titus walks up on this conversation, and he's like, "Oh, I see what's going on here. Kalisto, you want to be the first international member of the Titus brand?" And then Kalisto's like, "Nah, dog, I'm not really here for that." So then Titus says, "Okay, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have Apollo Crews take care of you in the match later on tonight." Titus in the manager role is working out great for me. He had that real funny line. He was like, "Oh, he's like, I'm trying to get that paper as long as euros, pesos, euros, pesos, food stamps, coupons. As long as it spins, I'm in."
Yeah, I like Titus in this role also. I think that that's it's weird because Titus has I mean, not all the tools, but he's a big guy. He's, you know what I mean? He
Hmm.
can talk. His move set probably leaves a lot to be desired, but traditionally he's everything that they look for in a star, and it just hasn't come together for him. But this might be the ticket, man, and it might be the ticket for Apollo Crews as well, because up until now, I haven't really cared about Apollo Crews.
Yeah,
They
but
brought him up, and they didn't, like I said, they didn't really give him anything for us to latch on to or to care about, other than the fact that they just brought him up. You know, being big and black and athletic is not gonna cut it for me in 2017. Like, he's a character. Like, what makes him tick? What's his, what gets him going?
hmm
So hopefully this will be something that progresses his character as well.
right. So this next part of Raw was brought to you by At What Sleep Though and her tweets from about 3 weeks ago. As we get a Goldust promo back to the OG Shattered Dreams production days. Right, this chair, and he's going over, basically his edict, and he says he's going to be the star, and he's going to direct the ending to his own movie. So I'm so happy to see the Shattered Dreams Goldust. Thank you, Sleep Dough, for coming on the podcast and saying Goldust should get a run, and then tweeting him, and then he retweeted you, and then the next thing you know, he's breaking up with R Truth, and now we get Shattered Dreams Productions. See how it works, folks?
Yeah,
Wrasslecast out here influencing storylines.
I like it.
Yeah, so real good to see Goldust back. Hopefully he'll get like maybe what do they have on Raw? The IC title. Maybe he'll get an IC title run to end it out.
Ooh, that'll be good.
So we get the hashtag 5 Feet of Fury, hashtag Bliss Case Champ, Alexa Bliss. She does a promo on what she did to Bailey last week and her plans in their Extreme Rules match. They showed Bailey's back from last week where Alexa gave her that one stiff cane shot and let Toby whelp on her back. Good Lord. Wasn't pretty. Next up, Kalisto versus Apollo Crews. Titus is at ringside and here's cheering Apollo that distracts Apollo Crews, which allows Kalisto to hit the Salida del Sol and get thing on him. Put that thing on him. Come on, Apollo, put that thing on him. I'm loving Titus right now. He's if he continue is like a part of this like second hour, yeah, I that rates pretty well if they kind of slot him there where you can count on him being a part of that second hour. Next up, we get Matt Hardy versus Sheamus. Matt Hardy hits Sheamus and then gets distracted and kicks Jeff Hardy in the back after Jeff attacks Cesaro on the outside. Um, so Matt Hardy gets the win. He has the twist of fate. Then they get to set the Hardy Boys get to set the stipulation for their upcoming match at Extreme Rules, and that match will be inside a steel cage. So Jeff Hardy's going to do something really, really high and do something really, really dangerous. Next, we get Tony Nese versus Austin Aries. Austin Aries gets the win with the last chancery. After the match, Neville comes down and attacks Tony Nese for not beating up Austin Aries. Move into Alexa Bliss versus Mickey James. Alexa gets the win after a big right hand and DDT. After the match, Alexa gives Mickey a shot to the back with the kendo stick, which causes Bailey to come out, and Bailey makes the save. Now we're going to our main event. We got Seth and Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt. Roman crashes into Seth after Joe ducked his Superman punch that allows Samoa Joe to lock in the Coquina clutch onto Seth Rollins, and he taps out, and Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt are your winners. So, thoughts on the main event, Didi? or any of those last four matches I kind of ran through?
No, no, no. See, Raw is just too long. So I got nothing.
All right, Kellen.
Yeah, I second that. Raw is just too long. Um, does Rollins have a new finisher?
Yes, it's I call it the Snowmaker because
Okay,
it's derived from Okada's Rainmaker. Instead of a clothesline, it's a high knee, but it's the same premise where he holds your wrist and spins you around.
okay. I'm not mad at it. Um, I think I feel like that he won't settle on that though. Like he'll always be looking for like a new finisher.
It's unfortunate that Vince actually probably fortunate too, since it's like got a negative, such a negative connotation, especially like a negative racist connotation.
Right.
But I mean, the curb stomp was, I mean, that's his finisher. No
Yeah.
matter what he does,
Right.
curb stomp, and so it'll always look funny with Seth Rollins doing it.
Yes. I think. Yeah, you're right. I absolutely think that he'll like the curb stomp is it. But yeah, I'm not mad at this one. I think that like I said, I don't think that it'll be his last. But I think man, Rollins is. I think he's trying to find his place. He needs to be a heel again. Honestly.
Right, right. Sometimes like it's hard to be a babyface if you're trying to do the traditional babyface stuff. Sometimes he has the baby face move set, so it seems like he connects in the ring, but the talking part is where he's having the struggles with.
Right. Right.
So
And
yeah,
that's
it's hard to
not
find that baby face voice. So at this point, before I turn it over to Dee, we're gonna pay some bills. We're gonna get everybody in and out .com through CSPN.us. Father's Day is coming up. It will be here before you know it. Get your dad something pretty cool this year. Don't give him the traditional socks, tie, thing like that dinner. Be thoughtful this year. Go through CSPN.us. Go on Amazon. Find something that he could actually use, like, enjoy, and support our podcast. Keep the podcast free when you do that. When you shop at Amazon through CSPN.us, part of your purchase comes back to the show to help keep all the podcasts free here on the network so we can do this each and every week. So CSPN.us and Amazon, do it today. So now I'm going to turn it over to our SmackDown Matters correspondent, Dee Jonay. And it was a party, y'all. We had a celebration.
It was a celebration. It started off in a very celebratory mood. They were in some place I don't know the name of. This is not in my notes. But it starts off with a car and a limo.
Toledo,
There's,
Ohio was our
why
destination.
do they stay in Ohio? They're in Ohio like every month. Ohio is whack, no shade. If you live there, it's great. But like, but anyway, Toledo. So they the Singh brothers come out. There's a fancy carpet for our new WWE champ, Jinder
did he come
Mahal.
out to Beware the Boys by Punjabi MC?
Not at the beginning. He might have later. I don't
Uh,
know.
that's
When
foreshadowing,
we
sir.
get there, we'll get there. But I kind of feel like they were taking cue from somebody Caucasian later in the night because that beat was a little suspicious. But anyway, they cut to the ring. Shane comes out. There's a Money in the Bank briefcase high in the ring because Money in the Bank is the next SmackDown pay per view. He announces that Randy has initiated his rematch clause, and at Money in the Bank in St. Louis, Randy's hometown, he will face Jinder for the title. He brings up the match itself, says that there will be 5 participants in the match. There's AJ, there's Baron, there's there's Sammy and Ziggles. Then Kevin comes out, and Shane's like, wait a minute, you're not the 5th participant. And then everybody goes, well, who is? And then I go, because I'm magical, it's Shinsuke Nakamura, right? 5 seconds later, the music hits. Everybody sings along because, the music is popping. And Shinsuke Nakamura is officially your fifth Money in the Bank contestant. Owens cuts off Shane, and he's like, "Why are you going with them? Yeah, I understand Sammy and Shinsuke won their matches, but he won his match. So why does AJ get the opportunity? That's not fair. Why are you taking opportunities from me?" And he's like, "Are you mad? Is you mad that he beat AJ and Shane couldn't do that at WrestleMania?" And he's like, "Okay, yeah, you got a point. So sure, you can be in Money in the Bank too." And then Baron says, "None of you have a chance. Just give me the briefcase." AJ says, "This is the house that AJ built." AJ calls Kevin Owens the Eric Cartman of the WWE. Sammy starts to say something, and then Corbin's like, "Shut up." At some point, his mic doesn't work, and so, what's his name? Kevin kind of hazes him about that. It's kind of funny. He says, though, that Sammy is the Rudy of the WWE, and there's a reason why there was never a sequel. Sammy's like, he doesn't mind fighting him again. He doesn't even want to wait until Money in the Bank. Then Ziggles is like, "But did you know I'm the only one who's ever won?" And then Nakamura's like, "I'm Nakamura, and you can call me Mr. Money in the Bank." So then Shane makes a Zayn Corbin match for later, as well as a tag match with the other guys. I think that was the main event. Anyway, next up is Charlotte and Becky versus Carmella and Natty Bo.
Hold on.
Hmm.
Did you see all that glow coming to the ring?
She came down?
Yeah, she came down.
That's when she came
Yeah, she came down. She came down with Becky.
down? Okay, can we talk about how that little entryway at the pay-per-view was so short? Like she only stood like 3
The
inches.
second person, you're the second person I had tell me that. I
Yo,
didn't know
like there was like no space. She was like, "Who?" And then she got up, and the ring was like right there, and it was like, "Oh damn, it's kind of awkward." Because I was like, "Why did she slide so short?" And then the camera turned, and I was like, "Oh, that's why." No space. But anyway, I digress. I love Naomi's clothing, and I still think she has the biggest budget out of all them girls. And Charlotte needs a rethink because Charlotte is shaped like a very fit rectangle. But anyway, at some point, Tamina tries to interfere, but Charlotte, I guess that's a distraction, but Charlotte fights her off. Naomi comes in to take her out with the crossbody. Carmella and Bex are tagged in, and then Carmella falls to the disarmor, giving Becky a what? A win to make that.
Yeah, good old 50-50 booking.
Listen, Becky got to take whatever she can get. Next up is Sammy versus the Barons. Almost immediately, Sammy cradles him up for the win. And my poor Sammy, instead of being like, "Hell yeah," and then getting out of the ring, he's like, "Hell yeah," with his back turned to Baron. And therefore, Baron beat his ass. And
As my
even when you win, you lose. Like, my
as
God.
as my Nick Corbin proceeds to beat the life out of him.
Mm,
Let me stay losing.
Even when you win, you lose. It's a mess.
Proving my point once again. Nobody takes an ass whooping like Sami Zayn.
Oh, yeah. He got hit on the back with a steel chair. And it was bad. There was a lot of stuff going on. But anyway, he got his ass beat. You don't need the details. Next up was Fashion Files. It was involved. I don't know. I was spacing out. I don't know.
The Fashion Files that came in, they came to turn in their badges because they failed at Backlash Matters. But Shane said that they're still on the case, and to prove it to him, he gave them singles matches against both the Usos.
Oh, there we go. That's great. But it's time for things that matter. And it's Jinder Mahal's big Punjabi championship celebration. The Indian dancers come out. There are drummers. They got the beat, but every time they transition, it's a little suspect. That's okay. The whites don't know. It was popping. Like,
It
I
was
think it was everything.
it
I
was
think
colorful.
it was a lot of color, all the colors. I think they got some bands because there's something about a drum beat in most any culture. Hell, even Irish and Scottish drummers be popping. There's something about a drum beat that can kind of get people on your side. So I kind of feel like this celebration kind of did some good for gender in terms of fans. Maybe it was just, oh my god, oh my god, oh my
It made him look big time, is what it did.
god.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I
Are you
heard
with
some
us?
static and it sounded like somebody took a tumble down the stairs. I
you
was
just
like, oh,
you,
not
you just
again.
you're just gun shy now.
Oh, like, damn. I was like, the last time I was on my tippy toes trying to look at the. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, but the Punjabi celebration was awesome. The Singh
Yeah, it was
brothers.
popping. It was popping. It was popping.
Yeah.
He's like, the crowd boos him. He's like, you can shower me with your hatred, but 1.3 billion people in India are celebrating. You're mad because I look and talk different, but you are exposed as the fools that you are. He says, Randy Orton is just like you, racist.
Ooh.
And he is on the decline. This ain't about you. This is about me celebrating my shit, celebrating India. He says, be quiet while he talks in Punjabi and the fans can't talk, say USA because, racist. And then Pyro goes off and it's still lit.
That was like 4th of July pyro too. I mean, Vince really blew the budget out for this. I gotta give it up to him, man. I thought, I was kind of skeptical. Like, if you're gonna do it, you need to go all the way. And Vince, to his credit, he went all the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. They trying to get that India money. Um, I don't know if I really want to go into it, but Tyler beat Jay Uso.
With the roll up and help from a what? Distraction by Fandango.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing. And then almost immediately, Fandango had his match with Jimmy and beat him also as well. Mm, mm. Oh, Tyler put on the granny hair, and Jay got mad and they ran around the ring. And this distracted Jimmy. And then Fandango rolled him up for the win.
Take your drinks. Take your
It
drinks.
was
Take your drinks.
amazing.
Take your drinks.
Okay, it was great, great, great. So next, Fandango takes somebody and he's like, "We want a shot at the tag team championships like right now." And so Mike Kyoto was in the back, and they were like, "Yeah, sure." So they come back from commercial. They have their match. Um, uh, but they're doing great. Fandango and the other one, but they're fighting. Him and Jimmy are fighting on the top rope. Jay tags him, but Fandango didn't see it. He plants Jimmy with his top rope leg drop, but immediately Jay follows up with a super fast splash to pick up the win. So
I
yeah,
really like how that. I really like that finish. That
that
was
was
really.
a good ending.
Yeah, I've never.
Shocking.
It was something we haven't seen before. So yeah, that was real creative.
Yeah, it's done good. Ooh, short round. Coach Carter. I'm sorry. I got distracted. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Take a drink.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was distracted. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, Natty walks into Shane's office. She says she's the one who won the match, and so she wants an opportunity at the women's title. Carmella and her girlfriend James Ellsworth come in. Look, I'm running with it now. And then Becky comes in, and she's like, "Look, I'm the first SmackDown Women's Championship. I deserve a chance." Tamina comes in, and she's like, "All y'all bitches lost. I ain't lost yet. Let me have a chance." And so Shane says next week there'll be a fatal five-way match with that winner facing Naomi at Money in the Bank. And next is Shinsuke and AJ versus Kevin and Dolph for your main event. Uh, Nakamura's kind of getting his ass beat. He gets the hot tag visits. No, he got worked over. I don't get it. The notes don't make sense. So Nakamura's fighting Owens. There's a fight between AJ and Ziggles. Nakamura clears the ring, lands a Kinshasa on Kevin Owens for the win. That's what happens. that's how your SmackDown ended for you.
You know what I want to happen?
What?
I want this five women's match to end in total chaos,
Ooh,
and then we petition as internet wrestling fans and try to get them ladies in a Money in the Bank match.
that would be most good. But then again, a women's Money in the Bank match is really a ladder match.
Right.
Do we trust Becky in a ladder match? I believe Naomi and Charlotte. And hell, even Natty would do great. I feel like Becky would come out on a great ladder. But I'm okay with that. I'm willing to, take that chance.
Right, because if it's such a women's revolution, then they shouldn't have any limitations on what type of matches they can have. I mean, they've had the women's Hell in the Cell, so
Correct.
we've broken that barrier.
Yeah.
So why
They
not
did
have
Iron Woman and
right,
NXT.
right? So the next thing that we haven't had yet is a ladder match
Yeah,
featuring
because
women.
even Bailey and the girl are gonna do the kendo stick. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for them doing any kind of matches the guys do. I just want them to be good.
Yeah.
Right, right.
I feel like with proper planning, a Money in the Bank match would be high.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think it would be really good, and just the first time seeing women do it would
Yeah.
just bring a lot of excitement to it. You know,
But
it
then
would
I
have a
think
lot of
even
buzz.
I think even having them have that Money in the Bank opportunity, which means there's somebody who has that briefcase who doesn't have to worry about am
Right.
I the number one
It's
contender?
another
Am I like anytime I want to?
correct. It's another storyline element that
Yeah,
they can use throughout the year.
yeah, and they desperately need storylines because they're getting kind of lost in the
Because
shuffle.
that money in the bank can really jumpstart um a like a lull or like a dull period in booking or
Hmm.
anything like that where you don't expect it, and the women should absolutely have that same opportunity.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep. So hopefully that will be what happens. Here on the Wrestlecast, we do have influence. So if you guys, at and tweet WWE and Triple H and the powers that be, maybe we can have some influence and get this into a unprecedented first, a women's ladder match.
I talk to Paul myself.
So we're gonna run through 205 really fast. Show begins with the Brian Kendrick telling the story of him and Tozawa. He says that tonight he's gonna end Tozawa in their street fight. They show a video package of the delivery for Rich Swann that he diverted to Davari, and then the exploding package in Davari's face. Then we get the match: Rich Swann versus Aria Davari. Rich hits a hook kick and gets a near fall. Then Rich follows up with the Phoenix Splash, and gets the win. While Rich was celebrating on the turnbuckle, Noam Dar came up from behind and pushed Rich to the floor, and he took a nasty landing, going face first on the outside. He is literally he basically did like a 450 off the turnbuckle and landed face first. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It was really scary for a second because like he hit the mat, splatted, and then didn't move 45 seconds. So video package of the Aries versus Neville program leading up to their submissive match at Extreme Rules. And then we have Neville and Aries on the split screen. They have a question and answer session moderated by Corey Graves. Then we get the return of Cedric Alexander versus Johnny Boone. Cedric hits the springboard clothesline, followed by the bar check, and he win. Aggressive. He looked really good. That lumbar check is still the most devastating finisher in WWE. It looks fantastic on whoever he gives it to. And this guy, Johnny Boone, definitely sold it over the top. So um, good return for Cedric Alexander. Then we get a good video recap of Drew Gulak attacking Mustafa Ali from last week. Then we have a vignette of Drew Gulak. He's on the campaign trail to make 205 Live a safer, less aerial place. Our main event, the street fight between Akira Tozawa and Brian Kendrick. So many cool little spots. Of course, Brian Kendrick is known to use the elements around him. So he found the the purple duct tape that they used to duct tape the ropes purple, and he taped up Tozawa's mouth and put him in the captain's hook and almost like suffocated him. Then he took him and basically taped him to the taped his hands around the ring post and basically took his belt off and beat him. That was a pretty cool spot with the tape. But eventually, Tozawa gives Kendrick the atomic senton through a table. He rolls Kendrick back into the ring, pins him, and gets the win. This was a really good match. Like I said, the cool little spots with Brian Kendrick and tape were really cool. Tozawa fighting and coming back all those different times. There's a spot where after Kendrick Tozawa gets free and then he grabs the belt and he is literally hitting Kendrick in the face with this leather belt. Like, oh my gosh. And then some people were like, "Oh yeah, that brings me back to my childhood." Like, "Oh my gosh, how reckless were your parents swinging those things trying to discipline y'all?"
A lot.
Yeah, so that was 205 Live. One of the episodes, it's just that, they really should think about putting it before SmackDown so the crowd can have that energy. Because, I mean, the guys do bring it. They do have really good matches on the show. It's just that everybody's burned out because they've already sat through 2 hours of SmackDown.
Right.
And they're just waiting to get to the whatever the promoted dark match is. And lately that's been involving Nakamura. So they're being able to keep a lot of people in the crowd because they want to see Nakamura actually wrestle, but it's to the detriment of 205 Live because they're just kind of sitting there on their hands just waiting for the time to pass by. Next up, our last review, real quick. NXT. Basically, we had a review show, but we started out with the baddest man in WWE, Tommy N, aka Aleister Black, versus Kurt Hawkins. This is an event match a couple of weeks ago. After a brief flurry by Hawkins, Aleister Black hits the Black Mask and he gets the win. If you haven't seen Aleister Black or aka Tommy N, I suggest you get really familiar because in about 2 or 3 years, this might be your WWE Universal Champion.
Oh yeah, he got next.
Yeah, he is the truth. Next, we get highlights from the DIY versus Authors of Pain tag team match and the Champ return from Takeover. Then we get an Ember Moon promo shot with Takeover inside the empty arena on having to miss Takeover and hoping that Asuka will retain the title so she can get her shot to, dethrone her. Then we get highlights of the women's title match from Takeover, followed by an Asuka promo where she says no one can go toe to toe to her, and then she points at her title and says, "It's mine," and walks off. Then we got highlights of the Roderick Strong versus Eric Young match. We get a Roderick Strong promo afterwards where he says he's setting his sights on the NXT title. Then we get the debut of the Velveteen Dream, Patrick Clark from Tough Enough versus Robert Anthony. Patrick Clark hits a nice Rude Awakening neck breaker. Then he follows that up with a beautiful Macho Man elbow, and he gets the win. Very intrigued by Patrick Clark and what he can do. He's kind of showed this is like the official debut of this character. He came out a couple of times and wrestled in something similar, and then they snatched him off TV and they kind of repackaged it and gave him a big vignette and a big build up. So good opening match, a very aggressive. Patrick Clark's got a good look, and if he can talk a little bit, sky's the limit for him. So big things in the future for Patrick Clark. Next up, we get the highlights of the UK title match from Takeover, followed by a Pete Dunne promo. Dunne says that he saw Bate live out his dream with Dunne's title, but now everything is his. Then we get highlights from the title match, followed by a Bobby Roode promo where he says that he's going to take some time off and then make a statement on who's going to be his next challenger. Finally, we get our main event. We have Drew McIntyre versus Wesley Blake. McIntyre attempts to Claymore, but misses. McIntyre then hits a headbutt, and then he follows that up with the Claymore, and he gets the win over Wesley Blake. And tentatively, it looks like Drew McIntyre may be having next. to a little program between Drew McIntyre and Roderick Strong to figure out who really gets to challenge Bobby Roode, unless they decide to do a three-way at the next NXT Takeover, which they haven't done with Roode yet. So that may be on the horizon. And that was this week's NXT. Just basically a review thing. I mean, the Ember Moon promo was pretty cool, where she said selfishly she Oscar retained because she's to beat her one on one. Patrick Clark debuting, big things are popping. Hopefully, like I said, he keeps the momentum up. I think Triple H has a soft spot for this kid. Like I said before in some early shows, he's mentioned his name in several interviews about young up and coming homegrown talent. So
Triple H can't wait to beat him at WrestleMania.
so yeah, like I said, if you guys go back and watch the match, I mean, the Macho Man elbow drop was fantastic. He got fantastic height, good distance. So like I said, the sky's the limit for Patrick Clark. I mean, he's like really young. He's like 22 years old. So as long as he, doesn't sustain a major injury and keeps his nose clean, the future is very bright for him. So, Kellen, before we get into shout outs, anything else that you've been watching on your radar that you want to talk about? Get a chance to talk some wrestling before we shut it down?
Not really, man. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to you guys for having me. I really had a good time. I appreciate it.
Oh man, we appreciate you. Like I say, you're one of our first guests when we brought the show back out. So it's good to reconnect with you and get a chance to talk with you and hear your insight as always. Very insightful tweets. Let people know how they can follow you on Twitter as well.
At Kellen Daniel. All my socials are at Kellen Daniel. So there we are.
Yeah, if you guys are, if you don't follow him, please do. Very insightful, great tweets about what's going on in the business. So proud member of the Wrasslecast fam. Dee Dee Jonay, your shout outs.
Um, shout out to Mel because Mel always gives shout outs. Shout out to you because I thought you were about to say Kellen is a proud member of the Samoan Nation, and I was gonna laugh.
I
Like
mean,
shout out to you for missing the easy joke because I was definitely there in my head. Who else gets a shout out? Kellen, of course. You, Sam, and Greg working them double shifts. Um, Shout out to me because I got a shit ton of gifts. And by gifts, I mean money. The money was gifts. It was amazing. It's like amazing. I think that's it. I don't think
that's it.
Yeah,
You
man.
like this week, huh?
Yeah, ain't too much fun popping.
Okay.
Shout out to Liquor. Oh, it's my friend Toya's birthday. Shout out to her. Well, it'll be after by the time it posts, but whatever.
Yeah, happy birthday.
It's fine. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone who joined us this past weekend for all those hashtags we had going on for the UK show, for NXT Takeover, for Backlash, and of course, Rawcast and SmackDown Matters. I'd like to inform everyone that Miyamoto have dropped episode 6 of Cast of Strong Style. So, you New Japan Pro Wrestling fans, take a listen to that. We are reviewing days 1 through 5 of the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. So, we'll be up to date as of day number 5 of the tournament and let you know all the happenings that are going on in New Japan. I'd like to give a shout out, of course, to our guest tonight, Kellen Daniel, for joining us. Give a shout out to my SmackDown correspondent, Classic Materia, the chairman, Mel, of course, the co-chairman, Sam, and Greg, who couldn't join us tonight. He was scheduled, but circumstances didn't allow him to make it. But of course, he's always here with us in our hearts and minds as he's the Jerobi of the Wrasslecast. He's, our like alternative. All the wrestling fans who added me, Dee and the Wrasslecast, and the question that was put on Twitter, quote this with your wrestling mutuals. We appreciate the love so much for everybody who Wrasslecast and has been down for these 135 episodes that we have done so far. And just thank y'all for supporting and always showing out and being involved in the hashtags and on Twitter and all the feedback. Well, man, we appreciate y'all so much. It makes it so much fun to interact with y'all as much as we do, and know that we're just not talking into an empty vacuum when we do this every week. So big shout out. And with that being said, for Kellen Daniel and D Lorente, and this has been episode 130 of the Wrasslecast. Stay tuned for the parting promo.